Meeting to order. If you would, please rise for the invocation and the pledge. I'm going to call on Commissioner Orenstein to deliver that, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Bow your heads with me, please. Father God, Lord, we come to you tonight grateful, Lord, for all of our many blessings, Lord. The season of year that we're in right now, Lord, it gives us the opportunity to pause and give thanks to you for your Son, Jesus, Lord. But be mindful, help us be mindful each and every day, Lord, of the blessings that we have, Lord, the things such as our community and our state and our country, Lord. We just ask that you remind us daily about those things that sometimes we take for granted. Lord, tonight we're thankful for the folks who are here tonight participating in our meeting, Lord. I thank you for my fellow commissioners and all of our staff, our first responders, Lord, all those folks who are there serving our community each and every day. Lord, these things we're thankful for, and we ask all this in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any leadership lounge folks here or youth leadership that might be with us tonight? If you are, please stand so we can recognize you. All right. We'll move on. Commissioners, inside your packets, you'll find your minutes of the work session of November the 7th and your regular session minutes of November the 8th. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I offer motion for approval.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the minutes are approved, Ms. Lovern. Agenda item 5A is our one appointment. This is to the Greater Lowndes Planning Commission. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. The seat that is currently held by Mr. Franklin Bailey on the Planning Commission is set to expire on January the 7th. Mr. Bailey has expressed a desire to continue to serve.
Any questions for Ms. Dukes?
Motion to reappoint Mr. Bailey.
That's, we'll have, just one second. I'm going to open the floor up for nominations. Are there any nominations? Mr. Weisenbeck.
Motion to appoint Mr. Bailey to the Planning Commission. Reappoint.
So you have a motion for Mr. Bailey. Are there any other any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close the floor of nominations, and Mr. Bailey will be reappointed by acclamation. Thank you, Mr. Weisenbecker.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6A is a public hearing item, and this is a beer and wine license for Robert Sloper of Lake Park Billiards Academy. It is located at 5129 Mill Store Road in Lake Park. Ms.
Yes,
Black.
yes, sir. This is again for Lake Park Billiards Academy, and this is for beer and wine for consumption on premise. This is a new establishment.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Black? Hearing none, we'll move into the public hearing. All right, at this point, then we'll move into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Commissioners, I'll turn it over to you for your consideration.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6B is a beer and wine license for John R. Williams of Williams Investment Company. They're doing business at the La Quinta Inn and Suites. This is located at 4610 North Valdosta Road. Ms. Black.
Yes, sir. Again, this is for the La Quinta Inn and Suites. This is a new establishment also, and is for beer and wine for consumption on premise.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Black? Hearing none, we'll move into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and Commissioners, I'll turn it back over to you for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the request.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6C is a rezoning request, and this is REZ 2022-18. It's the Hiltons located at Chug-a-Lug Road. It is currently EA, and the request is for RA. It will have well and septic, and this involves 8.29 acres. Mr. Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. Again, the request here is for 8.29 acres on Chug-a-Lug Road to be rezoned from EA State Agricultural to RA Residential Agricultural. You can see the property here on the map surrounded by a mixture of EA, RA, or R1 on R10. The property is within an agricultural forest service character area, also in the rural service area. And as depicted here, it is in a groundwater recharge area. The proposed size of the lots at minimum 2.5 acres satisfies public health requirements. Staff finds the request consistent with the existing land use pattern, the comprehensive plan, and had no other technical turns from the Technical Review Committee. The Planning Commission and staff both recommend approval of this request.
Thank you, Mr. Dillard. Any questions for Mr. Dillard? Hearing none, we'll move to the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this request? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
I am Madison Hewitt. I'm here on behalf of the Hiltons. I'm their realtor. I live at 1921 Gornto Road. But I'm just here to answer any questions that you guys might have about the rezoning. We're just looking to rezone it so that we can divide it into the 3 parcels. And as he stated, it would comply with the comprehensive plan for Lowndes County to expand growth without jeopardizing the integrity of the current area.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this request? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and Commissioners, I'll turn it over to you for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the rezoning from EA to RA.
Can we have a motion to approve the rezoning of current EA to RA? Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item 6D is REZ 2022-19. This is for Trip Tally. It's 4088 Old Bemis Road. It is currently R21. The request is for R10. It does have county utilities. It involves 0.8 acres. Mr. Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, 0.8 acres being requested by Mr. Tripp Talley to rezone from R21 to R10 in order to create 2 ULDC conforming lots at the R10 density. It is within the Neighborhood Activity Center character area and within the urban service area. As you notice here, it is mostly single-family developed or developing properties, as well as some commercial to the west. Overall, the TRC had no technical issues as there are no wetlands on the property to address. This is the current state of the property as is, the current existing house, the proposed site for the 2 houses, as you'll see on the next plan. And this is the proposed layout of the 2 lots if approved at an R10 density. TRC had no technical objections, noting that this site plan is not binding, but it can fit the site as well. Staff finds the request overall consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the Planning Commission also recommends approval 8-0.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Dillard?
JD, do you know what the lots back down on Hayden's Way and then that development, those are, I know they're R10, but you got an idea on what size those are?
Slightly larger than the minimum 10,000 square feet. This was prior to the utilities being run out that way.
Okay.
Any other
thank you.
questions?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Trip Talley. My address is 113 Fairway Drive, Valdosta, Georgia.
Trip, if you would pull that up and point it at your mouse, please. Thank you so much.
Is that better? Okay. You want me to repeat that?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Anyways, thanks, JD. He pretty much did a good job explaining that. I just wanted to come forward, though, and answer any questions or concerns anyone might have.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Talley? No question. All right. Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna give this.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this request? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and Commissioners, I'll turn it back over to you for your consideration.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6E is REZ 2022-20. This is the Terramore Development, LLC. It involves 3 acres. It's located at Highway 122 and Skipper Bridge Road. It is currently EA, and the request is for CC, and it has well and septic. Mr. Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the request here is to subdivide a small portion of the 35 acres overall for a 3-acre zoning of commercial, Crossroads Commercial in order to develop a general retail store, or commonly known as a Dollar General. This is within an agricultural forestry character area, and CC zoning is permitted where appropriate based on this. While the Valor map does not show any wetlands on the property, the submitted site plan by the applicant does indicate and will have to be addressed during the development process if approved. This is an overall concept of the Dollar General site. And again, staff found the request consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommended approval. At the Planning Commission meeting, several members spoke in opposition from the surrounding community, and the applicant did speak in favor of it. Ultimately, the Planning Commission decided to recommend denial, 7-1. But this is a proposed site plan, not final.
Okay, that's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Dillard? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move into, well, here's the issue that we've got, as we discussed at the work session. Due to an issue that was out of the control of Lowndes County and the applicant on the advertising of the time of the meetings, I would like to get a motion to table this request to the second meeting in January so that the timing and everything can be met, and then we'll be straight with it.
Motion to table.
Do we have a motion to table? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried. This item will be tabled to the second meeting in January.
Do we know that date, Mr. Chairman?
We can get it for you right quick.
We should be approving it later.
It'll be on the 24th.
Okay.
January 24th. All right, we'll move on then to agenda item 6F. Anyone that wants to leave, please go ahead and I'll hold the meeting until that time. They didn't come but for one thing anyway.
These Dollar General they sell beer and wine.
I asked about that today, and I asked Billy Nigel about that today, and I haven't got a straight answer yet either. But I don't know how it couldn't be within, I don't know what that distance is.
Church nearby.
I think it's on the opposite corner.
Oh. Then that kills it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward. Agenda item 6F is an addition to the basic decorative lighting district cattle crossing subdivision. This is 24 lots. Mr. Dillard.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. A petition has been signed by the owner of the 24 lots of Cattle Crossing subdivision to be added into the county's basic decorative street lighting. The petition is ready for your consideration, including verification of 2/3 of the signatures. Notice has been posted and advertised in the Valdosta Daily Times, and the current charge for the basic decorative street lighting is $61.50 per lot per year. Staff recommends adding the 24 lots through approval of the attached amendment to the current street lighting ordinance.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Dillard? Hearing none, we'll move then into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this request? Anyone that would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Commissioners, I'll turn it over to you for your consideration.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7A is the purchase of Between the Rivers LLC property. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir, thank you. This is for the purchase of property from Land Between the Rivers. It is approximately 71.47 acres in the amount of $121,500.
Okay, Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. McLeod? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to,
We have a motion to approve.
Motion
Do we
to
have a
approve.
second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No, sir.
Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Also, we are honored to have Miss Helen Tapp make the trip all the way down from North Georgia with us tonight. Ms. Tapp, would you like to come up and take a minute and say something, please?
Thank you so much. Y'all have such a full agenda. I just want to say thank you very much. And out of respect for your time, I'm going to stick to my comments and also might get emotional. So, in consideration of your action today, I want to thank you for your leadership in securing land for what promises to become a major community asset. The Between the Rivers Nature Preserve, I call it. Now, I don't know what you'll ultimately name it. Of course, Troopville might be in the name. Then again, I'm fond of land between the rivers. Maybe the name will include River Park or River Camp. But I respectfully request that part of its official name include the words Nature Preserve to ensure that the goal of this site's conservation easement are highlighted and honored. Perhaps the Troopville River Park and Nature Preserve will be the name, who knows? But together with the 49 acres already owned by the Valdosta Lowndes Parks and Recreation Authority, now there will be 120 contiguous acres in public stewardship for recreation, reflection, exploration, interpretation, and celebration. Just as the Little and Withlacoochee rivers come together here, this place can be the confluence of art, science, history, education, outdoor activities, and community collaboration. As the county continues to develop, this small piece of nature will become an increasingly important haven for the plants, animals, and people of the area. Today is the realization of a dream for me to have this land conserved and in the public domain. But in the truth, it's not anything about me, and it's just the beginning. There's so much potential. I hope that the Valdosta Lowndes Parks and Recreation Authority, county and city authorities, and community leaders will encourage the establishment of a Friends of the Park group that represents a wide range of stakeholders from a variety of disciplines and interests, from water sports and fishing and water quality to history, science, the arts, and education. A Friends group can be the boots on the ground champions for the place, raising awareness and support and leading projects. For example, I envision an annual celebration with lectures, awards for competitive art exhibits, and science projects. I would even be willing to contribute financially toward this kind of initiative. A Friends Group could also be instrumental in planning and advancing development of a river camp for paddlers as part of a Blue Way through the county as has been proposed to the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program. Already, many people have come together to secure this land for the public in perpetuity. From the Sewanee Riverkeeper and Walls to the Valdosta Lowndes Historical Society, Keep Lowndes Beautiful, the Chamber of Commerce, and One Valdosta Lowndes, there's already a collective vision and network of support. It can and should be nurtured and grown. The Georgia-Alabama Land Trust, which holds the conservation easement on the 71 acres, will be an excellent partner and resource in support of local stewardship. This land was undoubtedly a gathering place for Native Americans before colonial Georgia was established. It has been in my family since the early 1800s, and now it will be public land for the foreseeable future. Just as you have shepherded this project to this point, I hope you will continue to lend your voice and leadership to support this special spot with its black water, white sand, palmetto thickets, and cypress giants. I salute you and I thank you. And I offer special thanks to Rachel Thrasher, who couldn't be here today, and Chad McLeod, who have been so great, and Miss Dukes. I encourage you, and I'm told that for the public record, I need to give you the website, which is, I encourage you to look at the website, which is www.landbetweentherivers.com. And some of you may remember this from 2019, when over 300 people from around the state paddled by this site and got a fan, and it says, green space that will be available for public fishing, water trail paddling, camping, hiking, birding, nature journaling, art, historical site interpretation, heritage, education, ecological studies, watershed protection, and more. So, in the site of Troopville, Lowndes County's former county seat, I thank you very, very much. And I hope, even though I will no longer have any standing with regard to this property, and I can just be looked on as a crazy lady from Atlanta, I hope you will let me be a friend of the park in the future. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you very much. All right, we'll move on with the agenda, and agenda item 7B. This is MyGov intergovernmental agreement. Ms. Bates.
Thank you. Good evening. MyGov will be the new software that will be used by the county planning and zoning through inspections and permitting and code enforcement. MyGov was selected over other software because of the simplicity and the cost. It was developed and is provided by the South Central Planning and Development Commission, which is a political subdivision of the state of Louisiana. It is a nonprofit entity, so the fees are substantially lower than for most software packages because it does not require a profit and places all of the funding back into the application. The intergovernmental agreement has been reviewed by the county attorney, and the total cost will be $22,894.96.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Bates? Thank you, Ms. Bates.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I will consider a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7C is the Langdale Park Verizon Cell Tower Land Lease Agreement. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. The Parks and Recreation Authority has negotiated a lease with Cellco Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless at Langdale Park for a cell tower. The trust deed between Lowndes County and VLPRA requires the county to consent to this land lease agreement. We are asking to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attached consent.
Any questions for Mr. McLeod? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move we approve and authorize you to sign the attached consent.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attachment. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7D is the 2023 Public Defender contracts. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These contracts are the contracts we're required annually to submit to the state to continue the public defender program. This is a boilerplate agreement that is provided by the state, and there have been no changes from the previous agreement.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Dukes?
This is an annual agreement, right? We do this every year, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we do it every year. Yeah. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7E is the approval of the Solicitor General's VAWA continuation grant application for 2023. Commissioners, at the work session, you heard from the Solicitor Cabral's office about this request, and as you recall, there were kind of two parts. They were asking for a grant. If they get the grant, it's with an amendment to it, it'll be one number, and then without it, then it's another number. So you have those numbers before you. So if you don't have any questions, then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the grants.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the grants. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7F is the storage area network replacement. Mr. Costu?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. As discussed yesterday, this is the storage area network replacement for both the North and South Lounge Data Center. This will affect both data centers and will benefit the customers at both sites.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Costu? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7G is the Transportation Improvement Act, known as TIA. It is for the Twin Lakes Road Local Delivery Agreement. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. At the October 25th, 2022 meeting, the board approved staff submitting an application for local project delivery for Twin Lakes Road to the TIA office. That application was approved, and we have received the agreement for local project delivery. We are asking to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement. And June of 2024 is our let date as of right now, but all projects have been moving up a little, but the date is June of 2024.
Any questions for Mr. McLeod? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7H is the 2023 Georgia Department of Transportation's Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant, known as LMIG application. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. This is an application for our yearly LMIG for 2023, and this money will be used to resurface roads. We are asking that y'all approve and authorize the chairman to sign the application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McLeod. Any questions for Mr. McLeod?
Yes, Chad, when is the anticipated, I guess, that date for McMillan Road be resurfaced?
Typically, every year, they start late summer in resurfacing those roads. We don't have a particular order at this time, but once they start, they usually complete all the roads within a few months.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions? If there's no questions, then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the, motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the local maintenance and improvement grant with the Georgia Department of Transportation for 23. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Aye. Everybody. That's right. All in favor? I'm sorry. Do we have any negative ayes?
Amen.
Without that, then the motion is approved. It's a long meeting, folks. Agenda item 7I is the consideration of the T-Splosh 2 resolution. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. As discussed yesterday morning, according to House Bill 170, counties with a regional commission district have the option to institute a regional T-Splosh. GDOT is requesting action to be taken either in favor of or opposed to a regional T-Splosh. And if 10 of the 18 regional counties fail to get support for a T-Splosh, then individual counties can initiate an independent T-Splosh. We are asking that, to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the resolution in favor of.
Any questions for Mr. McLeod?
Just one for you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
What's the timeline are we looking at in regards to us adopting and the others and so forth, moving forward with the resolutions?
The timeline, to give you kind of the short version, is that, as I mentioned, they need 10 resolutions. They currently have 8. This will give them their 9th, and I'm sure the other one will come. Once they do that, then it will be a regional referendum. We will go through the largest part of next year of 23, doing the roundtable meetings, the selection of the projects, and those sort of things. And the plan is to have it on the referendum in March, April, somewhere, whatever that election date, that election day would be in March or April is when it would be on the ballot.
Of 24?
Of 24. Any other questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve and authorize you to sign the resolution.
Do we have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the resolution? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, excuse me, the motion carries. Commissioners, I want to just take a second real quick and just thank you for your consideration of this. You could look around in just this community, what T-Splosh, TIA 1 has done. The collection, the revenue coming in has exceeded actually what the economists were predicting. So that's part of why it's kind of coming up early, is because they're anticipating it actually to end 2 years sooner than what it was scheduled. So that says a lot of different things. One is we're getting a lot of projects that we would have probably never gotten accomplished. We're getting roads paved, road improvements done in this community. But as much as anything, it's a good statement to how our economy actually is here in South Georgia. And the fact that those collections, I think the last number I saw was like at 29% above the baseline projection. So that's pretty strong.
Will the collections cease, or will we go forth to the end of the deadline?
This just assures them that once it stops, once the money stops collecting they're anticipating now in 26, then the collections then will be able to continue at that point.
Right.
Any other questions?
And if it's not successful on that presidential election year, we will have an option to try again?
Yes, and that's part of bringing it up, as soon as we possibly could to get it done, so that if for some reason it did not pass, then we have a second opportunity to look at the projects, readjust, go back through the process again and bring it back up. Okay? Any questions? Any other questions? All right?
Thank you for your hard
Thanks.
work on that for us, Chairman.
Well, I appreciate it. Agenda item 7J is the Carter Way and Pond Circle Private Road Advisement. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. Currently, Carter Way and Pond Circle are private dirt roads. Staff has received signed petitions from owners of adjoining properties of both Carter Way and Pond Circle to become county roads. Yesterday morning, we went over the resolution regarding dedications of private roads, and we are asking for direction to the county manager to prepare and seek a quitclaim deed from the owner of each adjoining property, dedicating the owner's interest in the right of way to the county.
Any questions for Mr. McLeod? Okay. Hearing none, commissioners, while you're thinking about your consideration, if you're looking at it on your agenda item sheet, option one is what we're looking for, if that's what you're considering. I'll just use it at that because we just need to get to a point where we can give Ms. Dukes direction on where to move forward with this. So, with that said, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve and direct the county manager to prepare and seek a quitclaim deed from each owner of adjoining property, dedicating the owner's interest in the right-of-way to the county.
Thank you, Mr. Weisenbaker. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7K is the Paymentus Master Service Agreement. Mr. McLeod.
Yes, sir. This is the Master Services Agreement for Paymentus, which will be the new payment processor for utilities and finance as part of the mass meter changeout project with ABM. Paymentus will be used by customers to make credit, debit, and e-check payments to the county, and the cost of the service is paid by the user as a convenience fee.
Any questions for Mr. McLeod? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve and authorize the chairman to sign.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7L is the FY 2024 budget calendar. Ms. Black.
Yes, sir. This is a housekeeping item. Each year at the beginning of your budget process, you're required to adopt a formal budget calendar. That serves as a guide for the process and the milestones. The dates in here are flexible, but it just kind of gives you a guide for the year. The most important dates are the last ones where it has to be approved before June 30th.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Black. Any questions for Ms. Black? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a motion to approve the FY 2024 budget calendar? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7M is the contract for probation, supervision, and rehabilitation services. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is the current agreement between Georgia Probation Services and the Superior Court for misdemeanor probation services in the Superior Court. There is a slight increase to the fee. The proposed increase is $45 in 2023, and this is to be paid by the offenders. This is being renewed at no cost to Lowndes County.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Dukes?
No, sir.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7N is the Section 125 Plan Document Renewal for 2023. Mr. Beals.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as we spoke yesterday, the Section 125 plan is a mechanism that we use to provide pre-tax premium deductions for our employees for certain qualified health plans, which would include medical, dental, vision, critical illness, accidental death. We've been providing this program since 1989. We're requesting that the board adopt the Section 125 premium-only plan for 2023 and authorize the chairman to sign the certificate of resolution and adoption agreement.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Beals? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we adopt the Section 125 premium only plan for 2023 and authorize the chairman to sign the certificate of resolution and adoption agreement.
Okay, we have a motion to,
What he said earlier.
We have a motion to accept the Section 125 Plan Document Renewal for 2023 and authorize the chairman to sign that document. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Mr. Beals, the 2023 holiday schedule.
Yes, sir. We assembled our holiday schedule for next year in accordance with our Lowndes County personnel policy. The Lowndes County currently observes 10 holidays, a span a total of 12 working days.
Any questions for Mr. Beals? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the 2023 holiday schedule. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7P is the 2023 ACCG Workers' Compensation Insurance Renewal. Mr. Beals.
Yes, sir. As we stated yesterday, we did receive a 7.3% rate decrease over last year. That was approved by the Workers' Comp Board with the ACCG. We also enjoy a dividend credit of $19,000 and as well as a 7.5% reduction with our safety plan. We're looking at a slight reduction overall on our overall cost, about $2,000, but this year's premium cost is $181,424.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Beals? Thank you, Mr. Beals. You can have a seat, sir. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the 2023 insurance renewal, workers' comp.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the 2023 ACCG Workers' Compensation Insurance Renewal. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. I want to take a moment to thank Commissioner Marshall, who serves on the ACCG's Workers' Compensation Insurance Fund, and we thank you very much for any kind of help that you might have been able to lend Lowndes County. So thank you very much. Really, and in all seriousness, we thank you for your willingness to serve on that board with ACCG. That's important to us. So thank you. Agenda item 7Q is the 2023 Commission meeting calendar. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. State statute requires local governments in Georgia to publish their annual meeting dates prior to the beginning of the year, and before you is the calendar for next year. Our regular commission meeting dates are listed along with a few other dates of interest in our holiday calendar for your approval and review.
Any questions for Ms. Dukes? I have one question.
Yes, sir.
We discussed earlier today about a correction possibly for January early.
Yes.
Okay, has that been made, or
I don't
can
think
you
that's on
state
here.
that announcement?
Yes.
We have a scheduling conflict that on that first I believe it was the first meeting in January?
January the 9th, so we'd like to have the work session and the regular meeting on the
Yes,
9th.
January the 9th, we would like to have the work session that morning of the 9th and the regular meeting that evening of the 9th. If there's no objection, then that would be the adjustment to the calendar that I would like to request.
That's on a Monday.
Correct.
Have
That's
those meetings
correct.
on
That would
Monday.
be the Monday. Mhm.
The only question I would have related to that, do we have anything advertised between finance and planning and zoning that would be a problem there? Okay,
Okay.
we're good.
All right. Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion
Motion to approve with the
with the adjustment.
adjustment.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the 2023 commission meeting calendar with the January adjustment. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. County Manager's Report, Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The season of giving has turned into the season of giving back for our employees, and I wanted to take a second to go through several things that have been accomplished and that they have participated in with, actually since we last met in November. So first, more than 35 employees from county departments assisted with Second Harvest Thanksgiving event at Valdosta High School. This is an early morning event. Thank you all for being there and being a part of that. For the second year in a row, we had the largest group from any employer there, and our folks pretty much stayed to the end, and it was very rewarding, and we appreciate the opportunity. Second of all, this past Saturday, Lowndes County Fire Rescue organized a softball tournament for Toys for Tots. As a result of that event, more than 800 toys were collected and over $3,000 was raised. Some of you may remember a couple of years ago, the Toys for Tots warehouse was broken into and pretty much cleaned out, and so they've been trying to recover since. This was something that a couple of months ago that the fire department came forward and wanted to organize. We had tremendous participation from public safety agencies across the community, and they're asking for more. So we look forward to continuing this and turning it into an annual tradition. Most recently this week, over the weekend, our employees baked for the airmen at Moody Air Force Base. Ms. Barwick and I delivered an entire expedition load of baked goods to the base earlier this week, and we were glad to participate and help our airmen there. Lowndes County Public Works, as most of you know, but I did want to restate for the record, won the Christmas parade float this year. Commissioner Marshall, thank you for your leadership with the Ossipee Temple. We hope that there's no home cooking there as far as the judging goes, but Lowndes County Public Works has led the charge for our employee float, both literally and figuratively, for several years, even though many of our departments help with that process and ride that float. It was great to see them win and that recognition there. And Chairman Slaughter, thank you for going to the City Council meeting with them. We also supported the Lowndes High School door decorating contest. If you all remember, we started this several years ago. It's caught on in several other places across the community, and we were asked to come. Commissioner Evans and the chairman, Ms. Barwick and Ms. Thrasher and myself, spent an afternoon at the high school. It was great to see the good work that had been done there, but then to be in that high school and see the environment of positivity and diversity that's currently being created for our students was a tremendous reward as well. So we look forward to being asked back for that. You've seen the Christmas cards around the building, so county departments, all of our county departments painted a card, and then we had several of the courts and the sheriff's office, the tax assessors, the tax commissioners that all joined in. So there's really closer to 25 of those, I think, across county departments that were painted as a part of that initiative, and we've received great feedback from citizens there. I'd like to thank the Public Works Department. I'm sorry that Robin's not here tonight. She's not feeling well, for the decorations. This building, those wreaths that are over the two entrances were actually fabricated by Public Works. First of all, they couldn't find one large enough, and then when they did, it was not affordable. And so they actually saved a tremendous amount of money and fabricated them themselves, and they look fantastic, and they hung everything there. Also, we're providing the community with Santa's helper in the form of Mr. Rob Green, Chief Green's son. Is Santa, and that schedule has been published. The Go Loco campaign is benefiting from the photographs that are being taken out front with that. And if you all heard the horns blowing throughout the meeting, it's because Santa is on the sidewalk and people keep driving by and they're blowing horns. So that's the commotion outside, if anyone noticed that. We participated the first time countywide in the Small Business Saturday. We spent some time with our local small businesses and received great feedback from there as well. The Farmer of the Year was recognized last week. Again, this was a tremendous event, a partnership with our Chamber of Commerce that Ms. Barwick led. The large farmer this year was South Georgia Produce. The small farmer, Fifth Day Farms. We received over 70 nominations, and those nominations are sent out of the county to be blind judged. So it's an extremely fair process, but we received great feedback from our agricultural community, and we're looking forward to that next year. The chairman and Ms. Barwick and I interviewed this afternoon with Georgia Trends, so we'll be highlighted in their upcoming edition related to South Georgia. I'd like to remind you that our holiday luncheon for our employees is scheduled for Thursday at the Civic Center, and it begins at 11:30 a.m. Mr. Beals has had a conversation with Waste Management regarding roadside litter and the landfill. And so we will be meeting with Steve Edwards from Waste Management next week. We've got a staff group that will be meeting with him on how we can help our garbage trucks not drop all of the litter, along with some campaigns to employees to encourage them to bag their trash before they put them in the green can so there's not so much loose litter. Also, Mr. Beals has received feedback that the landfill after January the 1st will not be accepting loads that are not properly tarped. So that should help too with that traffic driving across town and those loads being tarped, and we're hoping that's going to take some pressure off the litter crews. We continue to finalize details so that the audit is on time. Right now, we've not filed yet, but we are on time. Ms. Black spoke with the auditors this afternoon, as well as Harrison Tillman, and we seem to be moving in that direction for the second year in a row. And then finally, our offices will be closed Friday, December the 23rd, and Monday, December the 26th for the Christmas holiday. Beyond that, I just wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for a fantastic year, and know that the staff could not be more excited about 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Dukes. Any questions for Ms. Dukes? All right, hearing none, we'll move into our citizens wishing to be heard. Our first citizen is Ms. Kelly Saxon. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Kelly Saxon, 8 Baldwin Place, Valdosta, Georgia. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I stand before you as a longtime Lowndes County resident and as the chair for our local homeless task force. I come before you to express some areas of concern as well as opportunity. The county received $22 million in ARPA funds, and we are in desperate, immediate need for an investment of $6.59 million for affordable housing. The Greater Valdosta United Way is recommended to administer the funding to local nonprofits and affordable housing programs that will address these mounting housing needs. Program funding has been cut for a lot of our nonprofit housing-related agencies. I personally spoke with our governor one-on-one about the need for housing support, and he directed me to you all, as he said grants were made available to address these needs. We have spoken with some of the members of the Georgia Senate concerning the disparities in needs. We have spoken with leaders and individuals with HUD. All roads have led back to our local level. We have seen the $11 million investment of the courthouse renovation, with nearly $275,000 in furniture, the investment of $3.8 million for a new animal shelter, a total of $32 million for facilities. No funds have been allocated to nonprofits to provide services in relation to housing. Zero for affordable housing rehabilitation and new smaller scale development. I know that it was said that the county is a service agency and does not do housing. However, with the addition of the Community Development Department, we were under the impression that housing would be a priority, even if it is set up as a partnership with nonprofit housing-related agencies. There are also other grant funds that the county can apply for and use for infrastructure business purposes. We have hard-working citizens who have faced tough times, especially with the ongoing of COVID. We have grocery store workers, daycare workers, factory workers, sanitation technicians, teachers, and nurses facing housing instability. Some of you are business owners. Think about the living status of your lowest paid employee. Think about the living status of workers within this organization. The rent has gone up by $200 to $300 a month, and there are requirements of making 3 times the rent. So if, for example, if the rent is $800, landlords are requiring people to show an income of at least $2,400 a month. The rent has left many individuals and families in less than desirable hotels with monthly rates of at least $1,200 plus a month. The local eviction rates are constantly flowing and have reached nearly 60 intents to evict filed in one day. We have nearly 300 homeless children in our Lowndes County schools. As we journey through this holiday season, we are reminded of the Savior, who at the very least had a manger. What is the immediate financial commitment to make the investment and address the needs of fellow hardworking Lowndes Countyans and their families, facing housing instability with no affordable place to lay their heads? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, ma'am. Please, no applauding from the audience. That's all. Thank you, Ms. Saxon. All right, our next speaker is Mr. John Quarterman. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Howdy.
Howdy. Mr. Quarterman, before you get started, though, I need your name and address for the record. Secondly, based on what you turned in, you have one of these rezoning cases that's been tabled. We're not going to discuss that. You have the other item. You're welcome to discuss it.
Oh, I'm not going to discuss it. I'm going to use it to bring up a related subject that the county manager.
I'm sorry, I hadn't
discussed.
understood a word you said.
Okay, let me start with the first thing that you asked for.
Right.
My address is 3338 Country Club Road, Suite L, PMB 336.
Okay.
And maybe y'all could make this thing taller, because I have to lean way over to get
Maybe
close
you
to it.
need to be shorter.
Well, I don't know. We'll ask the county attorney to compare heights. All righty. So you already know I'm opposed to the Dollar General, and I'm not going to talk about that in any detail. I will send
Correct. No,
you-
sir. We're not going to talk about that rezoning case. I understand what you're trying to do, but we're not going to talk about it. If you want to talk about your other item, you're welcome to talk about it.
If I could finish what I was saying, which is not what you think I'm trying to say.
Okay.
All righty.
I'll give you that chance.
I will send you in writing what I had to say about the Dollar General. And the only other thing I want to say about that is I suspect some of the other people in the room may have also sent in things in writing, and I hear there are even people who wrote in favor of it. And I look forward to getting copies of those in response to my open records request, which I filed Friday, which asked for all the correspondence about that item. I think the statutory 3 days extends till tomorrow, so I look forward to getting those. That's all I want to say about that.
Okay. Very well.
Okay, so the other item has to do with the land purchase. I want to congratulate you all for doing that. Good things sometimes take a while. I know it's been at least 4 years since Helen started talking about this. And you can look at it as taking even longer because she has a plat there from 1908 for that land. So you can look at it as 114 years, but you finally did it. And
That's it. Always look at the negative, John.
that's the positive.
Always look at the negative,
That's
John.
the positive, Scott.
No, please, Scotty. No comment, please.
That's the positive. You did something that took 114 years. You've accomplished it.
Thank you.
Yes. And what you've accomplished is also that the land purchase accounts for most of the required cash match towards the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant application if y'all should choose to cooperate in doing one this year. As you probably know, August 1st is when the application's open for that. Now, that application, they want to know, and I'm sure everybody else wants to know, I do, where is the money going to come from ongoing maintenance? And I'm going to be on the mayor's radio show Thursday morning. I'm going to remind him that I think he mentioned to me that One Valdosta Lowndes was going to rustle up that money, and this would be a great year for them to do that. I have one other thing, which is I'd like to invite first on trash. Thank y'all for what you're doing about trying to keep trash from blowing off, because that often gets into the waterways, gets into the rivers, including Saturday. We're doing a cleanup on the Withlacoochee River. Y'all are invited from Knights Ferry to Nankin boat ramps. If you want to come, we'll be happy to provide you with a boat, PFD, gloves, whatever. So, and thanks again for purchasing that land. It took some time, but good things take time, and you accomplished it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Blake Robinson. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Not as tall as our previous speaker. But my name is Blake Robinson. I am a student at Georgia Southern, but I live here in the county at 3819 Shore Road. And I just wanted to kind of just, talk to you all and just let you all know that though there may not be many young people that come to these meetings, and though there may sometimes be people that kind of ignore what the work that y'all do, I just wanted to let y'all know that the work that we do appreciate the work that y'all are doing. I mean, local government it's important, and in Statesboro I've learned that, especially in Statesboro, because I've been able to connect well with local leaders there, with the mayor for the city of Statesboro, and with some of the county commissioners, and see the work that they actually do on a weekly basis. And it's really nice to see that and come here and see the same kind of stuff happening here, where we're a county that's looking to expand, to grow. I mean, and I know y'all probably know this, but I mean, Bullitt County that area is going to explode over the next 10 years. And to see our growth here and to see how it's still moving, regardless of whatever else is going on in the world, is just a great thing to see. And I also, I just want to also say that I believe, Ms. Dukes, that you may or may not remember me from when I was with Leadership Lounge, the youth class of it was supposed to be 2020, but COVID happened and all that stuff, and so I'm glad y'all brought that up too. And Commissioner Evans, I also live in your district. It may be on the kind of like on the edge. I live over there by the post office. So I just want to thank you for the work that you've been doing since, oh goodness, however long you've been on the commission. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank y'all so much for the job that y'all are doing, and I look forward to seeing the further work that y'all do as commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, there's any comments?
Just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and blessed New Year.
Same here.
Well, I just want to say that this, of course, is the last meeting of the year. I want to thank each one of you, certainly, for your hard work and dedication that you have to this community. Take the opportunity again to thank Ms. Dukes and her staff for all the work that they do, helping us serve the citizens in this community. We couldn't do it without them, and we know that, and I certainly appreciate it. I wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas, the happiest of New Year's, and I'm the happiest guy in the world right now because I'm close to the end of 22. I'm ready to get rid of it, I tell you. So with that, Commissioners, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.